concerns. For more on the call to work together to improve the lives of citizens, I read Chernor Bah. He is the Sierra Leonean Minister for Information and Civic Education.
Well, it's a call that His Excellency the President made from the day election results were announced. And it's just re-echoing those calls, especially when we continue to hear voices who are trying to sow discord amongst us. So what the government and the President is saying to the people of Sierra Leone is that we have had an election. The legitimate institutions have presided over those elections. There are, we acknowledge, some questions about technical, practical, operational issues around the elections, but those we are having processes, credible mediators who are helping us to resolve those differences with our siblings in the opposition. But the most important thing is, especially at this time, as a country, we need to unite, we need to come together and move the country forward. It's time for development, it's time for unity, and it's time for peace.
Well, Minister Bah, is the government ready to engage in this dialogue without preconditions, mediated by partners both locally and internationally, to address concerns raised by the opposition during the election process?
Our president is a man of peace, is a man of dialogue. As you will recall, this is the president who initiated the dialogue with the very brutal Revolutionary United Front rebels in the 90s to give us peace. He is a man who believes deeply in dialogue. And so the answer to that question, I think, is obvious. Presidentbio and the government of Sierra Leone is ready, able, willing, any day, any hour, to continue to engage sisters and brothers in the opposition to talk about how we can move this country forward, how we can strengthen our democratic institutions, and how we can build on the progress that we have seen so far as a country since the dark days of the 90s.
Are you therefore saying that the government has extended an olive branch to the opposition as issues of the elections are addressed in this call for unity and to push the country forward?
Absolutely. The president has been very consistent that his hands are open. He went to Parliament and said that we cannot govern in a democracy without the active participation of the opposition. He has asked for us all to demonstrate political maturity by engaging in dialogue. Just last week, he received a report from the National Commission for Peace and National Cohesion that he set up himself. And this was a report on their engagement, their initial engagement with the All People's Congress Party about what their demands are and their calls for an international mediation group. The next day, the very next day, the president issued a memo through my ministry, a communique, accepting everything the Peace Commission said, including their request for international mediators to work with them and to engage with the All People's Congress Party. Our president is willing, ready, any day of the week to continue, as I say, continue his negotiation, his dialogues peacefully with the opposition, with every force in Sierra Leone, because he believes and he knows that the only way our country can move forward is when we continue to talk with each other and when we work with each other.
Do you mean even though the opposition is claiming that his election victory is illegitimate?
As I said, the president is not setting any preconditions on negotiation. This is a man who studied peace just as I did. And he understands that, the opposition has expressed certain grievances, but he said very clearly, as he said in Parliament, that the way we resolve those differences and settle the grievances that you may have is by engaging, is by dialogue and peacefully, because we have to move Sierra Leone forward. That is non-negotiable. And we can only do that when we all find ways to work together. Our president is committed to that, 100%.
Chernor Bah is Sierra Leone's Minister for Information and Civic Education. He spoke with me from the capital, Freetown.